Hi everyone, welcome to my shop. A friend of mine is retiring from the Navy and I thought I'd give him a little gift, so I wanted to give him a bottle of whiskey and make a gift box for him. And I wanted to engrave a logo into the top of the box. Like everyone, I went shopping for a bottle of whiskey based on the shape, and I got this, and the guy at the checkout said it's a good bottle, so that was the first thing. He gave me a challenge coin a while back, and so I took an image off of that and I ran it through VCarve and I came up with a program. And rather than filling it with epoxy, I thought I'd try something new and I would do an inlay of maple into the walnut top. I don't use my CNC that often, and this is kind of a complex thing for me, so I really have to rely on YouTube, although to begin with I thought it was a simple inlay and it'd be easy, so I did version number 1 here. And the problem with it is that it cut this part out fine, but the plug to go into it of maple, there wasn't enough separation in the bit to cut it out fully, and so that's not going to work. Number 2 was a little bit better. Everything seemed to come out fine, but I think I messed up with the geometry of the bit. I used an engraving bit, and the plug parts are not big enough to go into the holes. So finally I did a deep dive in YouTube. I found a guy's video out there. I'll link it down below. It's my most hopeful one yet. It's this one here, and it's using a 45-degree bit, which is very counterintuitive because there's quite a chamfer on it. And I think that's normally how it's done, but it couldn't really get past that in my head. But the part looks good. The plug looks good, although unfortunately, when I was cutting out the plug, I used a clearance bit of 1/4 inch, and I forgot to set the depth, and it's a much longer bit, and of course it blew right into the top of the logo and screwed it up, so I had to redo that. So I just did the top of the logo, and I'm going to cut it out and glue it in separately. My 2 different pieces don't interfere with each other, and I got room along the bottom for the epoxy, so I'm going to glue it up. I'm using the walnut Highpoint. For filling cracks and lettering, anything up to about 1/8 of an inch, I use Total Boat tabletop epoxy. I find that works pretty well. It dries overnight, which is a lot faster than the deep pour stuff. And for coloring, I'm using a mica powder, which has some white pearl in it. All right, let's see what we got. Well, that was a partial success. Everything looks pretty good, but the SAT, DET, saturation detachment, when I was running it through the planer, some of that maple came out. I don't think I can do the inlay without making it quite a bit deeper, which would make the letters larger, and I want them to stay small. So I'm going to use epoxy, and that way it will also tie into the color of the lettering below and keep it fairly small. But before I do anything else, I'm going to seal what I have with shellac, and I should always do that when I'm doing epoxy so that the epoxy doesn't go into the pores of the wood, and there's quite a few open pores with walnut. So I'm going to seal it, machine it, and then refill with epoxy. I've got the top and the bottom pieces, need to get them to the same size, and then I'm going to use the table saw just to put a groove, not a groove, but just notch the edges to fit into the groove on the side of the boxes. So moving on to the table saw, and I'll be changing to different blades to do each of these functions. I don't use my chop saw or band saw for doing this type of work, mostly just the table saw with different sleds and different blades. my chop saw and bandsaw, I pretty much just use that for breaking down lumber, so I rarely pay attention or make adjustments so that they're square. I've got a Standy 93, I believe it's called a rabbit plane. Most people call it a shoulder plane, and it's really good for just cleaning up these edges. Between the top and the bottom, the thickness is about 1 inch, and then the bottle itself, it's about 2 1/4. That's 3 1/4. And I have an idea for the lid that I want to do for the handle. I need to make this box about 4 inches tall, which is a bit thicker than I would like, I think, or taller than I would like, but a bit late to change that now. I've prepped the sides of my box, so next thing I need to do is cut the grooves, but here's an interesting tidbit and a piece of advice. Initially, I was using my walnut that I've produced with my sawmill and through my solar kiln. But as I screwed up more, then I had to switch pieces, grab more, and I had a piece of commercially dried walnut that was closer to the thickness, so I used that. But I can't mix them because there is quite a difference in color between a commercially dried piece of walnut and stuff like mine that's air dried. All walnut gets air dried, but in a commercial kiln, they will dry it down to 6%, and then they will steam it back up to 8% to get some of the color back. It's getting kind of late, but I do want to glue this box up so it dries overnight. If I was to leave it overnight, it's been raining all day, and so the humidity in the shop is quite high. I'd put spacers in between everything so air can get around everything equally. If you just stack it in a couple of different pieces, air is going to get to them differently, and you might come back in the morning and they will be cupped or warped. To put the grooves in the side pieces, I make sure I have plenty of scrap on hand. I use a blade that has a square tooth on it, which is usually a ripping blade. And once everything fits like I want, I go ahead and cut my pieces. Another good idea, make sure all your pieces are labeled. To put the 45-degree angle on my side pieces, I'm going to use a crosscut blade on my table saw with a sled. I do have a shooting board and with a hand plane, which I get a lot of enjoyment out of using, and it works really well, but this project is getting a little long in the tooth, and the sled just gets the job done. Once I have the end or the side piece to the right length, I just use a pencil and just put a little mark on the sled. I've got my box together. I just test fit it. It looks good, so I think I'm ready to glue up. I have it sitting on this kind of a big piece of plywood here. It's actually 2 pieces of 1/2 inch that I glued together so they're nice and stiff and they're flat. And then I used to glue up American flags on here, so it's kind of too big for doing this, but the important thing is it's flat and it's nice and stiff. And then there's a reference piece here on the back. And then I use these 2 squares just for coming off at a 90 degree from it. So I have the sides square to the back, and then the other side just falls right into place. One last check just to make sure we're square. 14 1/4, 14 1/4. It's been a few hours. I'm going to take the tape off, go back to the table saw. I've got the flat tooth blade back in there. I'm going to put some kerfs into the corners to hold this box together. To cut out those little maple pieces I put in last night, I use a little Japanese handsaw. I've never had much luck with a flush cut saw. It always seems to damage the wood. So I get very close with this little Japanese handsaw, and then I will switch to a Stanley 60 1/2 plane. This is probably the cheapest plane I have, and I probably use it 3 or 4 times more than any other plane I have. This little block plane won't eliminate sanding, but it'll sure cut out a lot of it. I took the box outside, I set up a fan to blow the dust away from me, and I just did a little bit of touch-up with 180 grit sandpaper. I'm ready to separate the lid from the rest of the box, but before I do that, while the box is nice and aligned and nice and solid, I'm going to lay out the hinges and just start cutting them away. Once I do cut the lid apart, I will have to touch up the mortise I made for the hinge, but it'll sure make it a lot easier if I do that now. And for hinges, I'm using these Highpoint hinges. They're at Woodcraft. You can also get them on Amazon. Hinges, man, it seems like they're either really cheap stamped ones, or there's Brusso, which are really kind of expensive, and these Highpoint are kind of in the middle. Ooh, oops. Okay, quick change of plans. These are stop hinges. They don't lay flat, so I'm not going to be able to lay them into the back. They sit inside the box like that. And I do have enough thickness on the width of the sides, so not going to be a problem. I can still lay them out though. I'm going to separate the lid from the rest of the box over on the table saw. I'm going to raise the blade high enough that I don't cut through the ends, but high enough so that I do cut through the sides and that the box doesn't fall apart over on the table saw. I'll bring it back here and I'll use a little Japanese saw or a knife or something just to cut through what's left on the ends. Because I've got the hinges on one side, I need to do kind of a handle for the lid. Last year I did a couple of gift boxes where some wood was protruding from underneath the lid out in front, and I kind of like that idea, and I think it'll be nice if I did it out of maple to match the rest of the maple on the top and the splines. I've machined a bit of maple to fit just inside the top, and also machined it down so it's a little bit thinner than the reveal on the underside of the top. It's time to apply finish. Now normally I would put just 100% tung oil. That's kind of my go-to finish these days. 100% tung oil, just slightly thinned with citrus solvent. But there's a bit of a time crunch, so I don't have time for weeks for it to dry. So I'm going with Rubio Monocoat here, just the oil plus 2C. It's got the accelerator, so it'll be dry enough tomorrow, and in a couple days, I'll probably put the maintenance oil on it just for a little bit of extra shine. It's been about 15 minutes, so I'm just going to get rid of the excess and then give it a final wipe with a paper towel. Well, normally I would wait a few days and then put some Rubio Monocoat on it. It just gives a little bit of a shine, kind of like a satin rather than just the flat finish that you get with the regular Rubio. But I don't think it needs it. I think it looks good the way it is, so I'm going to leave it at that. There are a couple things, though. If I had screwed up at some point, I've edited the videos as I'm going along. I really like the image, or just the way it looks now, it's kind of grown on me, of just the 45-degree chamfer in the lid. I think that looks pretty cool. I might have just left it like that. The handle, I do like it, but after a few days now, I'm thinking maybe it's just a little large. Maybe I should just have tapered that off a bit, or made it a little bit shallower or closer to the box. But it still looks great. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'll leave a link below to the stuff I used to build this box. And if you have any questions, please list them down below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.